So I hope I am audible. Before getting into the topic, I'd like to wish you a happy new year, everybody.
Thank you. Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you also.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so without wasting time, we'll jump into the topic. So in our last class, we have just started the noise topic for the sake of others, I mean, who are not attended or maybe missed the points. I'll just take we have touched only 2-3 slides. So I'll just start it very freshly again so that we'll have good revision also. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So as we know that noise again, so which is unwanted or uncomfort, which irritates. So those kind of sounds will be considered as noise. Vibration we'll see in the further slides. So if you see our the ear, we'll be able to see this the physical a portion of ear. So the total the ear is divided into 3 parts: the outer and the middle and the inner. So the outer, which is physically visible, the one is the pinna. Some portion of the ear canal also we used to see. Then in the middle of the ear, there is a critical part which is eardrum. And inside the ear, there is a cochlea. That's where the hearing capacity will be restored in case of it is affected slightly. If it is very affected bad, so inside this cochlea will have the hair cells. So once the hair cells get damaged, if it is the limited exposure, it will have self-healing capacity. It will come back. How like in case of any injury happens, it will self-healed. The same way it will get heal itself. If it is in a serious exposure to the high decibels, so noise will be measured in decibels. The units are decibels, dB. So once the hair cells badly affected with high decibels, then it won't be restored. This is also permanent disability, in the sense you are losing your ability. Okay, this is also one of the occupational disease which is notified by the factories department. We can see in the schedule 3. Okay, noise induced hearing effect. Okay, that is the occupational disease. Okay, so once we see the definition of noise, again the noise is a sound, but it is unwanted or undesired sound, which is not agreeable musical quality, in the sense you are not enjoying it. As I taken of example of a DJ, so who has brought the DJ for the functions, they'll be enjoying it. But the people adjacent to that, the function or the event which is happening, who are don't want to listen that music, for them it is going to be a noise. It is up to the perception and up to the people how they are taking it. Maybe for somebody it is good, they are enjoying it. For somebody it is not good because they don't want to listen that music or the sound or other thing, etc. So again, vibration, it is a physical factor which acts as in a human body by transmission of mechanical energy from the sources of oscillation. It is about, it gets carry forwarded, or it's just transmitted from the source of oscillation where it is generated or where it is created. Then if you see the permissible exposure limits, so as I given the simple tip of remembering, you need not to remember all these 6, 3 and all. You just remember 8 hours of work duration, it will be 90 decibels. Whenever you are the exposure hours, it will become double, 95. So the time also will be reduced to half of the time. For example, 8 hours, 90 decibels. If it is 4 hours, if a person is exposing 4 hours he is working, he can expose maximum of 95 decibels. If a person is exposing a noise, if it is 2 hours, he can expose a maximum of 100 decibels. If he is exposing for 1 hour, a maximum of 105 decibels he can expose. So you can take for every half of the time, if you are reducing, there is a half of the 5% of increase, 5 decibels of increase. If I say 15 minutes, 0.25 hours, maximum he is supposed to expose only 115 decibels. If you say vice versa, if there is a sound level or noise level is 115 decibels, any person can be there for maximum of 0.25 hours, which is nothing but 15 minutes. If it is 100, a maximum of 2 hours. If it is 105, maximum of 1 hour, he can be there. More than that, he should not expose. Yes. Now we'll see what are the effects and also hazards associated with noise. Definitely, as accidents takes place because of various factors, like maybe because of unsafe actions, unsafe conditions, there may be a people are untrained, or the system is not designed properly, or the workplace is not designed so well, or there is a potential hazard in the workplace, or the fault of an equipment or fault of a system, etc., etc. The same way, there are a few factors with respect to noise also. It leads to a severe case, in the sense it leads to noise induced hearing effect, or we can say hearing disability. One is noise frequency and intensity, then total length of exposure, in the sense how much time he is exposing to, length of exposure at a time. For example, in one day, what will be the length? Maybe following day, the length will be lesser. That is also one factor we should consider. And then distance from the noise source. How far he is from the noise source. That is also one factor we have to see. Then whether the noise is continuous or interrupted, sudden or impulsive. So how this noise is, whether it is continuously coming or it is interrupting and coming, whether it is in a sudden or impulsive, like a bomb, how it will blast on a sudden. These are the other factor we have to consider. Then whether the ear protection is on or not. So at the time of exposure, whether the person is having any ear protection. Then individual susceptibility depending on age and also health. It's a kind of resistance, and also it's a kind of how healthy he is and also age. So over a period, when you become older and older, so our body parts also become older. It won't work as like earlier. So that is also one factor we should check. And also sometimes some people have by birth issues with some hearing disabilities. That is also one factor we have to consider. Okay, these are the various factors which will depend on when you are exposing to noise. The frequency and intensity of noise, how intense it is, I mean, how severe it is, then the total length of exposure, which means the total time, then length of exposure at a time, and distance from the source, and also what type of noise you are exposing to, either continuous, interrupt, or sudden, either during the time of exposure, whether the person is having ear protection or not, then up to individual susceptibility in the sense the person healthiness and also the age of the person. Then what are the harms with respect to overall health which will impact? One is the mental stress, even physical stress, and certain illness in the sense hearing loss, etc., deafness. Even it leads to accidents also. As I mentioned, if you're working in high noise areas, if somebody is saying something, you may understand properly, or sometimes you may not understand it. Maybe due to that, you may take the wrong decision, resulting the accident may happen. Sometimes in case of any emergency also, due to the high background noise, maybe we would have not noticed that emergency. Still, we may affect with that emergency situation. Then productivity. Productivity also one issue due to the mental stress and
హలో
physical stress. The productivity also will come down.
వచ్చేసా
Sorry. Okay.
రా 9 కల్లా రా క్లాస్ జరుగుతుంది 9కి వచ్చేలే ఆ,
I'm requesting everybody, please be on mute. Somebody is telling to come at 9. I don't know. I can't see the name. Requesting once again, please be on mute. Yeah. Okay. So these are the various harmful effects with respect to the exposure of noise. Okay. Then there are two types of ill effects majorly with respect to the noise. One is temporary or threshold hearing loss, or permanent hearing loss. That is a physical damage. Temporary maybe for a shorter duration. If somebody met with any road accident, they would have experienced such a situation. They can't able to hear for 2 hours or 3 hours or 1 day or 2 days. Then later point of time, they'll be come back to the normal position. In other case, it is a complete damage. It is a complete damage where there is a rupture of eardrums. As we seen here, a rupture of eardrums in the sense automatically it will affect the inside the hair cells as well. That is a permanent damage, and also called as permanent hearing loss. If noise cannot be reduced at the source. So these are the two ill effects. So now we'll see how it can be managed, how it can be reduced, or how it can be controlled. The one thing, if you are not able to reduce at the source level, source in the sense where the noise is generating. For example, if I say a diesel generator or a DJ set, that is the source of noise in my premises, or its a transmission to the environment cannot be prevented, reuse the ear. The thing is, one thing, either we can reduce the noise at the source level. If you are not able to reduce at the source level, then at least you can try to avoid the transmission to the environment. If there also you are not able to do that, then we have to use the ear protection. Same way how we see in the hazard hierarchy control. There we have seen, first of all, we try to eliminate the hazard. If it is not possible, we can look for what is the other case? If you're not able to
Substitution.
eliminate,
Barriers.
yes.
Substitution.
Thanks. So once it is not, you're not able to eliminate the hazard, then we look for alternatives, which is nothing but substitution. Either we'll go for less hazardous material or we go for other alternatives. If the substitution option is also not possible with various conditions, then we'll go for engineering controls. That's what the transmission. We are avoiding the transmitting or the path of the noise. We are interrupting. And that is also not possible. We have a least effective control, which is PP. Okay, that is how we can.
Silencer.
Sorry.
Silencer that reduce the noise.
Yes, that all fall under this transmission.
Transmission, yes.
Yeah, it'll release the noise, but it'll reduce the most of the amount of noise, and it'll give a minimal. How like the crazy youth people, they used to remove the silencers for the bikes. Even it is not giving, even for the nowadays the scooty also they are doing the same thing for making sound in the roads. Yeah. Then exposed to the excessive noise raises our hearing threshold. That is the degree of loudness at which we first begin to hear. So threshold, in the sense, it is the capability, I can say. For example, previously we are nowhere exposed to the any high level noises. Your hearing capacity is as much as good that if the wall clock is ticking, you could able to hear that during the nights. So over a period of time, if you are exposed to the high noise levels, you're not able to hear that a wall clock which is clicking. In the sense, your threshold has been increased. You need more louder, then louder. If you're exposing more louder noises, your threshold will increase. Otherwise, you are not able to get that the volume or the decibels. You can't able to get the clear audible sound. It is mean that wherever you expose higher, your ear will be tuned to that noise or tuned to that decibels. So always it can able to hear only that decibel level only. You will lose your sensitivity. Simply saying that you will lose your sensitivity. Then in such a case, what will happen? We can't able to hear any secrets.
Unable to hear, then we can speak too loudly.
Yeah, we have to speak too loudly. That is going to be a big problem with the Indian families if you are staying together with your parents. I'm just joking. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then the auditory effects, as I mentioned, there are the serious health hazard resulting from this hearing loss or deafness. The hearing loss will be the hearing ability can greatly reduced by the repeated or long exposures to the high noise, or this permanent effect is known as noise induced hearing loss. As I mentioned, this is the occupational disease. Okay. Then it is important to hear that abstract the receipt of sound and also understand of speech in the sentence form, not in the form of test words. It is a deafness. It is irreversible and also incurable disease and can be corrected partly by hearing aids. Early audiometric examination can prevent the further damage. So it is simple that it is irreversible. So once you lost permanently, you can't bring back your originality. So there is no spare parts for our body parts, especially this, but you can bring back to certain level by using some permanent ear pods. We can bring somewhat, otherwise it is irreversible disease. And there is an early audiometric examination. If I'm not wrong, it will do for once in 6 months or once in 12 months.
12 months.
So that we can able to identify the people who are in the line of exposure so that we can do some job rotation, or we can give some frequent rest intervals so that we can minimize that effect. And the ability to hear less than the normal speech indicates degradation. This is what I'm mentioning. Previously, you can able to listen the one-to-one conversation in with a certain distance, or 5 feet or 6 feet or 7 feet distance over a period of time, even though normal speech. So it means the general conversation between two persons. If you are not able to catch that, if you are not able to clearly hear that conversation, it means your hearing ability got degraded. In the sense, your hearing ability got reduced. You can check yourself previously how you were able to hear the conversations or the discussions, and what is the case in the current situation. It can result from aging, long-term exposed to the high noises, or it is nothing but more than 90 dBA, or from a sudden or very high intensity noises. How it happens? As I mentioned, aging also one of the factor, again subject to the condition, how healthy life he'll lead. I mean, how he's taking care of himself. I mean, the food or the regular exercise or the yoga, something, etc. How his uh, day starts with and also ends with, and also long-term exposure to the high noise. This is the most reason we may degrade our hearing ability. And also there are a few chemicals also will leads to reduce our hearing ability along with this high exposure of noises. Those chemicals like toluene, lead, mercury, arsenic, CS, manganese, etc., etc. These are the few chemicals which will also leads to reduce our hearing ability. So how we can protect ourselves? So the ear can be protect itself to the sustained extent of noise by the reflex or contraction of certain muscles in the middle ear,
So
which
can
we
you
have
give
seen.
me some example regarding this chemical?
Example in the sense?
The between alcohol, how can the impact on our hearing for
It is
this?
it is an it is an exposure. If you are exposing that chemical, in the sense the fumes or the vapors which are exposed along with this high noises.
Okay, it may be
Inhalation.
inhalation in chemical industry.
Inhalation. Yes.
Okay.
Basically, chemical will enter into our body in 4 ways: ingestion, inhalation, injection, and absorption. Absorption
Right.
happens through the skin, inhalation through our nostril tract,
No.
ingestion through our oral, and injection, as we know, we'll take the injections from the doctors. These are the 4 ways it will happen. This case will happen with the inhalation mostly. Then, as I mentioned, so every human organ have its self-healing capacity, as ear also have its self-healing capacity. So it can able to sustain for some extent of noise levels due to some reflex and all the contraction between some muscles in the middle ear, which tries to limit the energy being transmitted inside. And this protection is of a little use when sudden or very loud noise strikes the ear and causing muscle fatigue. So as we've seen, there are various muscles we have in the each portion in the middle or inner ears. Unless if those muscles are fine, good enough, it is fine. Otherwise, is there any sudden impact, like any bomb blast or any such kind of very impact noise? It is very close to your ear, then those muscle get fatigue, in the sense it will get exposed, severe exposure. Then it will be result into uh, permanent disability or the physical damage of the eardrums, etc. So now we'll see what are the factors or the degree and extent of hearing loss. It will happen. One is, as I see in the intensity of noise, again, the sound pressure level, and also the type of noise, whether it is continuous, impulse, or other type. Then period of exposure, which is nothing but duty cycle, which means the hours of the person he can expose daily, and total work duration, so years of employment. So how many years he was there in same job or with the same decibel levels he is exposing to, health of the worker, and coexisting hearing loss, as I mentioned, any ear diseases, by birth diseases. Then the character of surroundings in which the noise is produced. It is nothing but whether again any reflections happens or any resound happens, such kind of surfaces or the near the vicinity. Then also the distance from the source, the position of the ear with respect to the sound waves, which is wearing ear protection or not. Distance, position in the sense whether he is directly impacting the noise, or is there any other direction he is sitting. So if you see the first four factors called as noise exposure factors, which are more important. So these four: intensity, type of noise, and also period of exposure, total work duration. It is completely related to his employment. Those four factors are very critical compared with other six. Now we'll see some of the symptoms of hearing loss, how you can understand of our degradation of hearing ability. It is ringing in the ear at the end of the work shift, slightly headache or tiredness, dizziness, etc. End of the shift in the sense after completion of the shift, while going home, still you are able to see some ringing sound inside your ear, and intermittent ringing in the ears. Maybe sometimes after the work hours, or maybe in the rest intervals, or in the home, or in the weekdays or weekends, you may hear intermittent. Maybe once in a while, you could hear some ringing sound. Then normal hearing is affected. So as I mentioned, if the background noise is present, incapability of picking up. In case of any minor noise also is there in the back end, you are not able to grab the normal conversation. I mean, one-to-one conversation. Then feeling of hearing insufficiency in the manifest. In the sense, your hearing insufficiency. You're not able to hear properly. You're not able to grab it properly. Those are the effects. So as we see in previous slide, the two illnesses, one is temporary and other one is permanent. We'll see in detail now. Basically, if you see a temporary loss, it can be caused by exposure to the loud noise for up to a few hours, which numbs the hair cells. Fortunately, the hearing is usually restored after a period of away from the noise. So it will be restored once the hair cells got repaired, self-healed. Again, your hearing ability will come back. You can able to hear it normally. When I say a permanent hearing loss occurs when exposure to the loud noise permanently damages or destroys the hair cells. So hearing cannot be restored. Whenever your hair cells get damaged completely, in such case, you can't restore it back. You can't bring it back, such capability again. Okay. If we see the signs of permanent hearing loss, again, it is inability to hear the pitched or any soft sounds in the sense the minor, I mean, regular conversation, trouble in understanding the conversation, speech, or uh, hard over the telephone, then ringing or roaring in the ears. These are the few symptoms of a permanent hearing loss. Again, as I mentioned, the hearing loss is a notifiable disease under the Factories Act. So noise-induced hearing loss, which is exposed to the high noise levels, is a notifiable diseases under the third schedule of the Factories Act. The duty is cast upon both the managers and the factory, the medical practitioner attending the person affected, to report to the chief inspector of the factories without any delay under these sections. In case, if you found anyone with this case or in this situation, immediately the factory manager or medical officer. It does not mean that every factory will have a medical practitioner. So it is the responsibility of the factory manager to notify the inspector of factories without any further delay. Again, it is company to the company. So as we know, whether the company is so good and also the company is very transparent, they will follow all this. Otherwise, that is the case is different again. Now we'll see how we can do a measurement and also how we can evaluate these noises. One is the source of industrial noise. This is the major one where the most of the people are exposing to. Before studying methods of measurement, it is necessary to know the main sources. One is industrial noises. The one is the impact. It is the most intense and the wide spread of all industrial noises. The impact noise is usually impulsive, but it can be continuous, as in case of tumbling. That is the impact noise, where especially happens in fabrication industries or any forging industries or cast manufacturing industries. And then friction process like grinding, sawing, sanding, cutting, turning, etc. This is also one of the other source of noise, which is from industries. Then reciprocation, like vibrating or reciprocating or unbalanced rotating machineries. This is also one. Then air turbulence, high velocity air, steam or gas causes noise, and the intensity increases with the velocity of the air stream. It is nothing but the example noise will be the pneumatic tools and also jet engines. Sometimes in case of any the air line gasket leaks or any damage of air hose or any pipeline. These are the few sources of noise sources from the industries. Then if you see the need of measurement, why we should do the measurement of this noise. So once we measure this noise, it will provides the definite quantities which describe the rate and sound, and it can be measured by once you measure this, so we can able to improve the building acoustics. So acoustic enclosures, in the sense it will absorb the noise levels. How, like if you see the theaters, the complete theater which is completely acoustic material, so that you can't hear such a noise outside the theaters. It will try to capture as much as possible. And permitting precise and also scientific analysis of annoying the sounds and giving a clear picture, identification of damage to the hearing, and also suggesting corrective measures to be taken. And hearing loss can be determined by measuring the person's hearing sensitivity by audiometry. These are the various useful things if you do a measurement of the noise levels in the facility. So how we can measure? There are different methods are there for the measuring these noise levels. As we know, the dB meters, these are well familiar who are working in the organization. Mostly third-party people will come with this such kind of instruments, and they used to measure the noise. And there is an Indian standard IS 3483, where it will give the details about further of this measurement. So I'm stopping here. We have less than a minute. If you have any questions, we can, otherwise we can continue in the second session.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in starting of the session, you showed one table now regarding that noise level decibel